Today we're going to be taking a look at 75153 ATST Walker. This set was released on September 30th of 2016, and it was part of the lead wave of LEGO Star Wars sets for the movie Rogue One that came out in December, and then this set retired roughly a year and a half later on December 31st of 2017. It has 449 pieces and includes 3 minifigures that are all exclusive to this set. It had an original retail price of only $40 US, and if you want this set new sealed in the box today, it's currently only going for around $60 to $100. Now, as most of you guys know, this is a very beloved set, and it is widely considered to be the best ATST that LEGO has ever made, and I strongly agree with that. However, there is one major downside with this set, but we will get to that later. And taking a look at the instruction manual here, on the front you're just going to have a reprint of the box, then it's just going to go straight into your standard LEGO building process, and then in the back you're going to have all of the minifigures that were released alongside this lead Rogue One wave, and then right next to that you're going to have all of the actual sets from the opening Rogue One wave, and then some advertising for Master of the Force, which was really big at the time, and then some advertising for the Force Awakens video game. Moving on to the minifigures, first up here we have the Imperial ATST driver. Like I said, all of the figures are exclusive and they all look really good. He's a pretty simple figure, but he's definitely one of the better ATST drivers that we've gotten, and as you can see here, he does have a double-sided face and he comes with a little pistol. And then next up here we have my favorite minifigure in this set, which is the Rebel Trooper. He's got this really nice looking helmet piece, and then he's got incredible printing on his chest and his torso, and he's even got some faint brown printing on his legs, with some minor details on the back, and then obviously he doesn't have a double-sided head because his helmet wouldn't be able to cover it. But regardless, I think this figure looks incredible. I love the Rebel Troopers like this, and I wish LEGO would give us more of them. And then lastly here we have Baze Malbus. He's got outstanding detail all over his torso and his legs, and then as you can tell, he has his massive repeating cannon with him, which attaches to, I guess, the charger pack that sits on his back, and then LEGO even went the extra mile here to put some back printing underneath the charger pack, and it looks very nice as well. And then as you can see here, he does have a double-sided head, with the second one being this sort of angry face. And overall, I'm going to give this minifigure lineup a 10 out of 10. I honestly don't think they could have chosen a better lineup. I really like how the only Imperial minifigure is the ATST pilot, and that it doesn't include a Stormtrooper or an Imperial hover tank pilot or any of those figures, because this set is based off of the scene in Rogue One where the Rebels do ambush the Imperials on Jeddah, so it does make sense to have more Rebel figures than Imperial figures. And now moving on to the model itself, it basically looks flawless from the outside. I think this is by far the best looking ATST that LEGO has ever put out. I mean, it's basically 100% accurate on the outside. It just looks incredible. It's basically minifigure scale. I honestly could not ask for a better ATST model on the outside. Taking a look at the legs and the feet here, on the feet you will notice there are 2 stickers, but I like how they look, and along with the few other pieces there, they add some nice detail. And then the front and the sides of the legs are tiled off and they look very nice. However, there are the exposed Technic pieces on the inside of the legs, however that doesn't really bother me. And then on the back of the legs, you're mainly just going to find the bottom side of all the pieces. However, the assortment of pieces used doesn't make it look bland back here. It actually makes it look quite detailed, even if they meant for it to or not. And then you might notice there are these 2 little gray sort of hinge pieces. I don't really know the correct terminology for them. They don't have an actual function, as they don't really help the leg move at all. However, they do look really nice and they add some awesome detail back here. And then speaking of the legs moving, there is one joint at the top where it can move. It does have a pretty big range of motion, and I guess you can try to pose it in whichever way you want. However, when you do pose the actual legs, it is pretty hard to keep it from falling over. And then looking at the center area, on the front there are these 2 sloped tile pieces with some exposed studs around that I wish would have been covered up, because it makes it look a little bit incomplete, but I don't think it looks terrible, and that's sort of the theme around this whole area. There's just a few tiles covering up some studs, but also some studs exposed. However, on the back here there is these 2 stickers, and you might notice this little knob here, and actually if you twist that knob, it turns the head of the ATST, and it has a full 360-degree range of motion. And I honestly think this is one of the best features LEGO has ever implemented into a walker like this. It's just such a genius design, and it's really fun to do, and the knob is hidden very well in the back. And then moving on to the head, this is really where this set shines the most, on the outside at least. I mean, as you can see, the shaping is perfect. It's very sleek and very detailed. On the top here, these 2, I guess, like shutter pieces can move up and down. I'm not sure if they're supposed to in universe, but they can on this set. And then there is this little turret right here on the bottom that can move up and down as well. And there are going to be guns on either side. On this side you have the turret, and it is a nice looking little build that can move up and down. And then on the other side you're going to have what I believe is supposed to be the rocket launcher, and it can move up and down as well. And also on the side here you can get a nice look at the shaping of the head and the nice detailing with the mainly gray pieces, and then that one little blue tile down there in the middle. And then on the back here you're going to have some exposed Technic pieces. However, I think it adds some detail and it actually looks really good. And there's also 2 stickers back here as well that I put on a little bit crookedly. And then you might notice notice there are these two pieces sticking out at the bottom, and actually that is how you fire these spring-loaded missiles. If you just push those in, these spring-loaded missiles will fire out the front. This is a really ingenious design, and this is one thing that LEGO did with these Rogue One sets, is they made really fun and unique ways to hide the spring-loader shooters in the builds and make some fun way to fire them. And then looking directly on the side here, you can see how it works. There's just this little sloped piece on the end of the piece that you push in, and it pushes down on the spring-loader shooter and fires it. And then moving on to the top, you can see there is quite a bit of detailing up here, and I honestly think it looks phenomenal. I mean, I love the detailing up here, and there is this little sticker in the middle, and then the top can completely open to reveal the interior. And then looking at the interior, the first thing you might notice is that there's only one seat, and this is why throughout the whole video I have been saying that this set looks really good on the outside, and that is because there is only one seat on the inside. And as you guys know, ATSTs are supposed to have two pilots. When this set came out, there were lots and lots of people making modding tutorials to be able to fit two pilots in the inside, and it's just really disappointing that LEGO couldn't find a way to do this. I don't think it would have sacrificed the size of the head very much or the shape, and it would have made it more accurate and given better playability. However, regardless, on the inside there is this little sticker control panel down there, and you can set your pilot in there. And there are also these two studs in the back. One is to hold his blaster, and there actually is this little grenade that is included, and you can sit that grenade on the inside on the other stud. And then also on the top there is this little hatch that can open up, where you can get the ATST driver to sort of pop his head out the top like they do in the movies, and I think it looks really cool. And this is sort of similar to what they did on the ATDP, and I just like the minifigure scale hatches. Now, speaking of the ATDP, the last thing I want to do is actually compare these two sets. Since the ATDP was released only 1 year before, and it is very similar to the ATST, I thought they'd be nice to compare to each other since they're from sort of the same era. And I do have to say, these are both very nice and well built looking models, and you might notice the ATDP is just slightly taller, like literally only about a plate or two taller than the ATST, although obviously the ATDP has a bigger head, and it's got beefier looking legs and a sort of just overall beefier looking build. And what's interesting is it only has about 50 more pieces than the ATST, and it retailed for $50 as the ATST retailed for $40. However, despite the size, I think the ATST does have a little bit better overall detailed, as it's more tiled off in areas such as the legs. But regardless, I think these are both very nice looking models, and they are some of my favorite sets in my collection, and I thought it would be cool to compare them as they were released right around each other. Now, like I've repeated over and over again in this video, this ATST looks incredible on the outside, and like I said, it has a pretty much perfect minifigure lineup that represented the scene in Rogue One perfectly, and it was only $40 retail back in 2016, and today it is still only going for around $60 to $100, so it is very affordable for most people still. And again, it looks so good on the outside. However, one major downside is that it doesn't fit two pilots. I remember back in 2016, this was a really big deal to a lot of people, and it really sucks because every other part of this set is perfect, and because of that, I don't want to take off too many points, so I'm going to give it a 9 out of 10. If this set would have included two pilots, it would have easily been a 10 out of 10, but for some reason, LEGO just didn't. Let me know what you guys think about this set down in the comments below, and if you want to check out more of my videos, you can see them on the screen right now.